Good evening, good evening. Welcome into another night of the U.S. National Parks, the Camp Trail Country Travelway show. I hope everybody is having a great Monday, and I thank you for being here tonight. We're gonna have some fun as we draw along. Much power to me. I am tired, but welcome in to those coming in. Hey, Dean, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you, bud. I hope you're feeling weather. I hope you're feeling good, bud. And I hope everything is going good. And so I hope you're having a great Monday. I don't know about you, Dean, but we're actually getting a thunderstorm up here in the North Florida now. But yes, I hope everybody is. Welcome in to those coming in and joining us. Um, Tonight we're going to talk about one of my favorite places. I've never been in the place, but I have driven by and pulled into the parking lot. Yes, prayers. Sending prayers out to you, Dean. Definitely sending prayers out to you, buddy. And I hope hopefully this time, these people will get the job done like they're supposed to. Now it's raining and thunderstorming up here. North Florida's getting it yet. But tonight we're going to visit one of my favorite parks. It's a National Historical Park in Virginia. It was the site of an ending of one of our biggest wars in the United States. And if anybody recalls their history, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about when I say it was pretty much the biggest war that this country has had as far within itself and on the land of the U.S., which is the Civil War between the North and the South. Today we're going to be looking at the Appomattox Courthouse, and we're going to be bringing it up and looking at it. Hopefully we'll have some more people coming and joining us in a little bit. I do know Pete was streaming a baseball game, so I know some of our moderators are over there. I know Steve's World's going on at 6 o'clock, so I know some people will be over there, and some will be over there, and I think Tanya the Disney Crazy Lady is on, so it's just going to be a few of us tonight, I suspect, but that's okay. Oh. Need to make sure I pick the right one. All right, and here we go. Appomattox Courthouse. As you guys can see, the Appomattox Courthouse is on McLean property. This was the McLean house used as the well, thank you, Dean. That's okay. You know what? It is what it is. It is, we'll get some coming in. But if you look at it, it's very beautiful. A lot of this, it really does have a lot of different components to the park. But right here is the actual courthouse where the signing of the end of the Civil War, where the South surrendered to the North in April. And looking at a little history, April 9th, 1865, the surrender of the Northern Army of Northern Virginia in the McLean House in the village of Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia, signaled the effective end of the nation's largest war. Jason Thibodeau, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you, Jason. And anybody that's a big history buff would know what this. If you took a look at that picture, I think most people would understand. They knew what this was. That was the end of the Civil War. They did have some fights around Appomattox County prior to the surrendering, but with the results of that battle, he was pretty much forced to surrender his thing. So we're going to take a look at some of that stuff today. So if you are planning a visit, guys, again, go to www.nps.gov/APCO, short for Appomattox County or Courthouse slash. It will bring this up. You'll find information on operating hours, fees and passes, current conditions, permits and reservations. You can find directions and transportation, eating and sleeping. Of course, you got things to do: birding in the park, driving tour, guided programs, self-guided tours, hiking trails. Lots to do. So you want to check that out. Of course, obviously, you want to make sure you keep in. They do have accessibility for those that need accessibility. Physically, mobility, deaf hearing, blind, low vision, service animals. And of course, they do got a section on things that if there's things you still need to know, you might be able to answer there, or reach out to the park. Usually you'll find a number that you can reach out to them. But if this is something you're looking to do, if you're traveling to Virginia for a Virginia vacation and you are in that area, again, Appomattox is about 45 minutes from Lynchburg, Virginia. It is quite a resilient. I know that area is beautiful. I've driven through there, and like I said, I've actually pulled into the park to look at it, but have not actually visited it itself. But I have seen the outside of it, and it is a very tremendous and something you might want to plan on if you're big into history, especially if you're into the Civil War. If you're like a Civil War buff and you like studying history, this is definitely one place you want to go. Obviously, but let's go ahead. Let's look at a photo gallery and take a look at some photos here. This is the historic village of then and now of Appomattox. As you see here, we have the McLean House. This is the McLean House. This is the Clover Hill Tavern as it stands today. Um, it is, Dean, from what I've seen. Like I said, I've driven into the parking lot of the place, and I've only got to see the outskirts of it. Um, and like I said, I was as a when I was a Liberty University student, I should have taken a chance to go visit it. But I do highly recommend that if this is something you like, it's a good place to look at. Again, here you have the historic. This is the McLean House. It's the Appomattox County Courthouse. At that time, during the Civil War. This is the Meek store. So it's like a small village. It was actually kind of set up and looks like the village of what it was in the 1860s during the Civil War. Um, and these are all the original buildings. So um, obviously, Appomattox County has grown since then, and probably it looks very much different today. Mary Carol, welcome in, and hello, hello, good to see you. Um, so, so that is the Meek store. This is the Pears House, the 1867 jail. I hope you're doing. By the way, I hope you're doing good, Mary Carol. Say hello to Adam, Reba, and Blake for me. Meow, meow, meow. And yes, I am doing good. So when you ask, I am doing good, and tell those three cats I said hello. Meow, meow, meow. This is the 1867 jail. There might need we might need to stick a few Disney. I know a couple of people that need to be thrown in there. I won't mention Richard or Mike's name. Hey, just kidding. They're good. You know, guys. I do want to say that if you get to catch the Triple C show last night, please go check them out. Mike and Richard were on there for Parks and Eats, along with the Triple C ladies. They did a great job. Um, Personally, I would have thrown them into the 1867 jail, but they're not here, so they won't know what I'm saying. So that's a good thing. This is the Kelly House. And again, most of these are, they've probably been maintained over the years. Probably maybe some restructuring and rebuilt to look like the way they would have been during the 1860s. But it is this is the Woodson Law Office. Yeah, it's and here you got the Isabel House. Actually, it looks like a beautiful house. It actually kind of looks like a house that you would see today, particularly in certain parts of Virginia. It's got that old 1800 look, but extremely beautiful. Wonder if it's got any ghosts in it. This is what the Clover Hill Tavern looked like in the early days of the 1860s. The Appomattox Courthouse, again. You apparently have some soldiers sitting on the fence with the rifles stacked together. That's the way they stack the rifles. They usually stack the rifles in stacks of 3 or 4. Um, Here again, you got the McLean House. The Pierce House, all looking according to what they look like. What you're seeing now is black and white pictures of what they would have looked like, of what they actually looked like in the 1860s. And of course, there's the McLean House. The 1867. See, what do you think? What do you think, Dean? Stick Richard and Mike in there. That's what I say. It'll hold them. Don't know if it'll contain their silliness, but this is what the Jones Law Office would have looked like. Um, Obviously, the law office has definitely been changed. And again, some of these are pictures probably years after the war, and obviously they've been maintained, well maintained, painted, and fairly preserved for today. So now let's look at some historical images. There's 3. Oh, we got to see them. Don't think you want to see those. We've already looked at them. Let's look at some of the hiking trails. There's 8 images. If you do like the I'm just going to browse them. I'm not going to really pull them up, guys. But you got different areas of the Appomattox River, Sweeney Priscilla Oldest Building, Fence Beyond the North Carolina thing, Trail Bridge, Sears Lane, North Carolina Monument, Lee's headquarters. And these are all walking trails within the thing. I mean, I do got to be careful on what I do show and what I don't. But I am, again, these are coming from the National Park Service. These pictures are definitely thing. But let's take a look at what they look like over the time. Here we have the Memorial Bridge. This is the Memorial Bridge. This is a view of the Appomattox Valley from the April 10th meeting site. This is a Confederate cemetery in 1940. And again, these are pictures throughout the history. So some of them will be beyond the thing. And these are things that you will actually get to see or may be able to take a tour of as you're going through the national park here. This is the Tibbs house that's photographed in 1942. Again, I mean, they would, no one will have been lived there for years, but probably abandoned, but they did, in order to keep them up to date, and obviously became a national park down the road. Here you got the historic photo of Flood's Mill. This is a picture of it in 1892. Obviously mills were the big thing. Most mills used water power to run their machines. Quite interesting. Here you got a view of Oak Road in 1936. Obviously, these are definitely not the roads that we would be used to, guys. Even back then in the 1930s, most of them back in the, and I will tell you this, my dad was born and raised in the hills of Virginia. Most of the roads then were still a lot, even in when he was born, and he was born in the 1920s. That's all I will say. So even when he was growing up in the 30s, most of the roads would have been dirt roads and all that, and most of them still would have used horse buggies and things like that. Um, unless you really lived in a big town, and then you start seeing some of the motor vehicles, which would have been around. This is a dynamite cabin. I'm assuming that's what they would use for storing the dynamite. This is a picnic in Cannon at a picnic area. This is what the cannons would have looked like for the Civil War kind era. And of course, this is the O'Brien Cemetery. This is the O'Brien Cemetery over the landscape of the Appomattox Courthouse. So again, you can see the Richmond-Lynchburg Stage Road. What you're seeing here is what would have been the main road of those days to either go to Richmond, Virginia, or Lynchburg, Virginia. Again, well, people still had to get them to mush, Jason. They still had to kind of coax them to get going. But I agree with you. Those are the original cars that drive themselves. They could. Funny horses were funny. But yes, this is so. As you can see, this would have been one of the roads, and again, early days, 1930s. A lot of it still probably would have been dirt roads. Now, when this picture was actually taken, I have no idea. Um, this is the Prince Edward Courthouse Road Ford in 1941. Okay, not sure what that one is, guys. That one's a good one on me. This is the Memorial Bridge at Appomattox Courthouse landscape. Again, that's one of those nature trails that if you want to walk, you would see where the Appomattox landing. That the Memorial Bridge goes over a small river. Yes. If you guys are hearing rumble and thundering, yeah, it is storming where I'm at right now. So if you do hear the thunder and the rumbling, that's what's going on in the background. I don't know if it's picking up or not, but this is the landscape view of the Appomattox Courthouse in 1936. Obviously, Civilian Conservation Corps quarrying stone Appomattox Courthouse landscape in 1941 to preserve it. Here's the funny thing. Here's the map of the battlefield for Appomattox because it did not. It just yes. What most people remember about the Appomattox Courthouse is that was the final where Lee surrendered the Army of Northern Virginia. But they did spend about 8 days prior to that fighting around that area which then made Lee decide to say, okay, it's time that I surrendered. We are not going to be able to continue. I mean, obviously the North Army was growing in strength. Lee's armies were at that point there was only Lee and one other general's army that was still moving, and that general was down in North Carolina. Lee had surrendered the army in North Virginia, and there was still some skirmishes to the south in North Carolina until that general finally surrendered that army, and which was the official end of the Civil War. But that, of course, that only took a few more days. This is the North Carolina Monument. This is a Confederate cemetery plaque at Appomattox Courthouse landscape, commemorating, obviously, Confederate soldiers that died there. We got a bunch of trees. That's a bunch of trees. I'm assuming that's one of the roads that were around the landscape. Again, you got to remember, most of those roads back in the Southerns, they were still mostly dirt roads, even back then. This is Quarry on the Appomattox River in 1942. This is the organization of the Appomattox Courthouse. Yeah, so it shows the vegetation, the property, and the roads of the Appomattox Courthouse. So, hey, Samuel Wilkinson, welcome in, buddy. Yeah, we know. We're sending out prayers to them, but I do know that most people are okay, except the fact that a lot of people lost power. That's about it so far. So that I've heard. This is the Sweeney Connor cabin. Again, what you're seeing, guys, are pictures of buildings that would have been on the original estate around the Appomattox Courthouse, and they would have been utilized in that time of the 1860s. But now what you're seeing are pictures that are like 50, 60 years old later in the 1930s and the 1940s, which they're still standing, and at that point they were starting to be preserved for the sake of the history of the Appomattox Courthouse and its property, and along with the surrounding areas that were involved with it. Obviously, you got the Coleman. That's a Coleman. Oh, that's an outbuilding. Now, for you guys that know what an outbuilding is, we won't get into that, but an outbuilding was used for specific something. They didn't have indoor plumbing. They didn't have indoor bathrooms. That's all I'm going to say. This is the Sweeney Prizery. Again, more buildings. It was this was pictures you're seeing. Some are in black and white. These are buildings that were preserved, and some of these are actually updated pictures. They're just in black and white. Again, that's the view to the courthouse. This is the view towards the village from Lee's headquarters areas. So what you're looking at is where General Lee's headquarters would have been, and the courthouse and the surrounding areas would have been down in this area, well over the ridge. So he would have been able to see. So, what are you guys thinking? Are you liking the pictures? I mean, and what just and of course what you're seeing here are just basic um well, what you're seeing now is just some other things that go on at the park and postcards you can get, um, and things like that. Well, let's see if we can do the virtual tour here and see if we can get it to work. Okay, so if you want to do a virtual tour, guys, you can go to this link right here. Um, go to the mps.gov/APCO. This will bring you to the Appomattox Courthouse National Park. And if you go to the virtual tour of the Appomattox and you hit that, this will take you on. The rest of this is just pictures of surrounding area of what the tour would look like. Here, again, this is the surrounding area. Here you got the courthouse. You got the McLean House over here. You got those other buildings that are surrounding here, and some of those other things would be, you know, again, they're spread out throughout the property area. Obviously, again, this was the time of the Civil War. Around 140 people lived here in the village. Um, so to give you kind of a picture of what it was that this village, and like I said, Appomattox has grown. Obviously, time has passed. Um, the county of Appomattox has grown from a village to a county. This was the original village of Appomattox. At that point, it lived 140 people, which had formed in the 1840s around the Clover Hill Tavern as a stagecoach stop. The Richmond Lynchburg Stage Road during the Civil War, more than half of the county's 89 inhabitants were African American, almost all of whom were enslaved, although many of them. Now, we're not going to get too much into that, but that's the realistic, but that's what it looked like. Not what you're seeing is, and of course here you're seeing the official surrendering between Grant and General Lee um, over the Civil War. Here you're looking at the whole Appomattox courtyard here, where this was the Union, the red with the very much history behind the Appomattox Courthouse. Again, I love it because I do love history. I am a love the Civil War person, as well as World War One, World War Two, and the other ones. And of course, you got all these things. You got the Visitor Center Courthouse. You got the McLean House. Mm. Remember what I said about in the field of North Carolina, Indian Territory, Oklahoma, and Texas, knowing that Lee had recently been made Commander-in-Chief. Grant met with the Virginian second time on the surrender of the other armies, notifying and of course, you got the Clover Hill Tavern, which is there. So, and then again, there's that road with the Richmond Lynchburg Stage Road, the Confederate Cemetery, the Kelly Robinson House. Again, these are what you're seeing are houses that were around. Well, you be careful out there, Samuel. Well, and do the thing. So, yeah. Well, be careful, and you better just focus on what you're doing. Don't worry about the stream. If you're out chasing storms, you need to be out there doing what you're doing, buddy. Help as many people as you can. And of course, field trips, nature. That's just to give you guys some sight. I mean, for me, to be able to go to these national parks should stir. If it doesn't stir your feelings as an American to go visit some of these sites, one, just because of the beauty and the nature of around in the surrounding area and the mountains, and it's obviously it's the quite science of peace and that, and so. Ooh, I've had a long day, guys. So, pardon my yawning. I've been up since 5 a.m. But yeah. So if you are looking to travel like that, guys, I'm going to do this. I'll be back in 2 and 2. We are going to be
This is the Cantrell Country Travelway. I'm the agent and owner, David Cantrell. If you're looking to travel through the U.S. national parks or maybe to the waterways from beaches to ocean cruises, let the Cantrell Country Travelway help you find your magical vacation.
All right, welcome back, guys. Okay. Welcome then to those coming in. There's our good friend Mama D, our good friend Debbie Bernfeld. Hello, Debbie. Welcome in. Welcome in. Did Pete? How did they win, Debbie? Did Preston's team win? But anyways. News about the 6-3. Nice. But anyways, guys. Well, I knew this was going to end up being a short stream tonight. Because we got anybody and everybody streaming tonight. I can tell you 1 of 3 people to go check out. Make sure you go check out either Steve's World, who is streaming from the parks, or check out Tanya, the Crazy Disney Lady. She is streaming from the parks right now. But again, if you get, for anybody that's new to my channel, welcome. If you're ninja watching or you watch the replays, please check out my other stuff. I am a travel agent. I am the agent and owner of the Cantrell Country Travelway. I will, if you're looking to travel, please reach out to me. Debbie put the travel leader profile into the link. You can click on that. It'll take you to find out more about my company and show you how to reach out to me either by phone or email. And I will be glad more than help you, whether you need help making reservations or whether you need help planning a whole vacation. We will find that magic vacation for you. I don't know about anybody else, but I've been up since 5 a.m. and still trying to go strong, but body's saying shut down. So I hope everybody is having a good Monday. I am. I was on the lawn. We were on the lawnmower about 9 hours today, Debbie. We mowed most of the school lawn, which was knee deep from all the rain that we got when we were on July 4th break. But we did get most of the grounds looking pretty good. So, what we do tomorrow will depend on what the weather does. Yeah. Well, I mean, I had a short 10-minute break, and then we did have lunch. We had our 30-minute lunch break. But out of the 10 hours of work today, we stopped at about 2:15. So yeah, I was on I was on there for about maybe 8 hours and 45 minutes, give or take. Might not have been quite 9 hours, but pretty darn close. But yeah, so, and I'm still waiting to hear from back. I'm hoping to hear from some of these cruise lines guys. I know I've sent them emails to the people I need to, so I have not reached out to them, or I have reached out to them, and hopefully I'll hear back from them. So, so hopefully we'll have some guests either on the Tuesday or Thursday shows coming up in the future, but don't know. All right, guys. With that, I'm going to say I hope you have a great evening. Make sure you go check out either Steve's World or Tanya the Crazy Disney Lady. And with that, I'm going to say let the Cantrell Country Travelway help you find the magical vacation. Have a great night, everybody.